All right. Thank you to those students who have reached out and told me they were having trouble with the homework. That's what I'm expecting. If you're having problems, I'm expecting to hear from you and let me know. All right, so I'm going to do the homework. All right, so number one, we have this. Y equals 16, 1 minus 0.3 to the t power. All right, so right away, because it has a minus sign in it, you should put dk, because that is the formula from our dk. All right, so that's that identifying. The initial amount is always this amount that's up front. So the initial is 16. All right, and then the percent of increase or decrease, well, here it is right here. It's the percent. So remember, we got to change it to a percent. So the percent would be 0.3, which is 30%. Remember, right? It's this number, which is 0.3. We change it to a decimal or change it to a percent by moving it over 2 places, which gives us 30%. All right, number 3. We got y equals 87, 1.6 to the t. All right, now the difference between 1 and 3 is 1 has already been simplified. All right, now you should be able to tell that they added something to the 1. All right, so this was actually look like this. Y equals 87, 1 plus 0.6 t. All right, because 1 plus 0.6 gives us the 1.6. So all they did was simplify that. All right, so now we can do everything we wanted with the plus sign. So we know that that is growth. All right, the initial amount, 87. And then the percent, again, it's the 0.6 that's over there, but we have to change that to a percent, which would be 60% when we move that over, so 60%. All right, moving down to number 4. Number 4, we got y equals 0.5 to the t power. All right, so this one, since this number is less than 1, you know they must have subtracted 1. All right, so this was actually this. 1 minus 0.5, because 1 minus 0.5 would give us the 0.5 that they had. So you just have to figure out, well, what did they subtract from 1 to get this answer? So 1 minus 0.5 would give us that 0.5. So that's how the problem looked before they simplified it. So now it's easy. We know that it's dk. And again, you know it's dk because this number is less than 1 also. All right, the initial amount is 123, and then our percent, again, is 0.5, which is 50%. All right, and then number 6, we have y equals 100.75 to the t power. Again, this number is less than 1, so right away we can put that it's dk. We know that it's dk because it's less than 1, so that means we have y equals 100, 1 minus to the t. Now we got to figure out, well, what do we subtract from 1 to get 0.75? In other words, if this was $1 and we had $1, how much money did we spend that now we only have 75 cents? And the answer is a quarter, or 25 cents. All right, so we got the decay already. All right, the initial is the 100, and then the percent, again, would be this percent that's in here that we spent. All right, that's 25%. All right, 0.25. All right, so that's how you do those first 4. All right, number 13 should have been easy. All right, 13, it wants us to write an exponential decay model after 1990, 2 years after 1990. So again, writing our exponential decay model. Our exponential decay model looks like this. All right. So in this, the A is the original amount. And the original amount, they give us the population was 2,200. So 2,200. 1 minus, because it is, oh, no, the town increased, so it's going to be plus. It's not going to be an exponential growth model. All right, so it's going to be a plus. All right. And then the population increased by 3%. So again, increase told me that it was exponential growth. 3%. So we have to change that to a decimal. All right. So 3%. I'm just going to do it off to the side right here on here. So 3%. The decimal is right here. So we have to move it 2 places. So that would be 0.03. All right. So the rate 0.03 to the t power. All right. And then I would just simplify that, because you can do 1 plus 0.03. So we get y equals 2,200, 1.03 to the t power. And that's what I'm looking for that answer. All right. And then 14, all we had to do was use that formula that we gave. And we want to predict how many people were in the town in 2003. Now, this started from 1990. So what you have to do is you have to figure out how many years it is from 1990 to 2003. And that should be easy. We just subtract them if you want, and you get 13. So that means we're going to use the formula, and t equals 13. So we got y equals 2,200, 1.03 to the 13th power. And then I just use my calculator to do that. So again, just putting it in the calculator. So again, I start there. So I do 1.03 to the 13th power, and I hit enter. And then I do times 2200, and I get 323, and I'm round that to 1. All right, because again, we're just dealing with population. We're not dealing with money in a bank. So I can just round that up. And that's it. That was 14. All right. So number 17. All right. Here we go. The information for 17. We're depositing $5,000 into an account that earns 3% annual. We want to find a balance after 1 year, compounded annually. Okay, so these are all the things we need. Remember, for these problems, all right, my formula that I'm using is this. All right, it's the compounded interest formula. So it's y equals, I think it was, I want to use the right letters. All right, so this is the formula that we're using. All right, the compound interest formula right here. So we got, they used A. That's why I wanted to make sure I got the right ones. So we got A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the NT power. All right, and again, I just pulled that right from the notes. All right, so this is the formula we're using. We're using the one for compound interest. All right, so let's go back. All right, so 17. All right, they want us, we have a original amount, the P. It's going to be 5,000. The interest rate is 3%. It's in there for 1 year, and it's compounded annually. Annual means they pay interest once per year, so that means N equals 1. All right, so now when we fill all that into this, we get this. A equals P, which we said was 5,000. 1 plus the rate, all right, which is 3%, but we got to change it to a decimal, 0.03. All right, it's compounded annually, so we said the N was 1, and then it's 1 for the N again, and then T was just 1. All right, so this one's actually pretty easy to do. Once we simplify it, we get 5,000, and 0.03 divided by 1 is just 0.03. We add that, and it just gives us 1.03, and then 1 times 1 is to the first power. So all we really have to do is put that in our calculator. So all we're going to do is put in 5,000 times 1.03. So 5,000 times 1.03. and we get our answer, $5,150. All right, so now 18. 18, they're only changing a couple things. All right, 18 again, it's still 1 year, but now it's compounded quarterly. Quarterly means 4 times a year, which means that n equals 4. All right, everything else stays the same. The only thing that changed was now n is 4. All right, so again, we got A equals, P is again 5,000. 1 plus, our interest rate still 0.03, divided by, now n is 4. That's what's changing on this. So now we got n is 4 times 1, because this is n times t, right? All right, so now all I got to do is simplify this. All right, actually, the only thing I could simplify is this, and I would make 4 times 1 just 4. All right, so that's the only thing I would simplify, was make that just 4. And then I would put it in the calculator. All right, so put it in the calculator. Again, all we're going to do is we're going to start at the top, so 0.03, divide it by 4, and then I hit enter, and then I do the plus 1, I hit enter, and then I do to the 4th power, I hit enter, and then I do times 5,000. And I hit enter, and there we go. So this one is A equals $5,151.69, because again, now they're talking about bank and money, so they're just going to truncate this. They're not going to round it. They're just going to cut it off. All right, that's what truncate means. All right, and then the last one you had to do was number 19. All right, so 19, again, the only thing they're changing here is now it's compounded monthly, and we know there's 12 months in a year, so that means n equals 12. All right, that's the only thing that changed, is now the n is going to be a 12. So we got A equals 5,000. 1 plus 0.03 divided by 12, and that's 12 times 1, because again, n times t. And again, all I would do is simplify that first thing. So we make 12 times 1, we just turn it into 12. All right, and that's all you would do, and then we just put it in the calculator. Again, step by step. I always start in here, all right, and then work my way out. So this one looks like this. It's 0.03 divided by 12, hit enter, and then do plus 1, hit enter, and then do to the 12th power, so to the 12th power, hit enter, and then do times 5,000. And again, if you do it this way, you'll make less mistakes. If you try putting it all in there at once, it's not going to work real well for you. All right, so that's what I get for that one. And that's what the homework looked like.